41 cars roar to life here at Darlington, South Carolina for the Busch Grand National Series Gatorade 200. Back in the pack, getting strapped in, the Goodrich Chevrolet's Dale Earnhardt. And this man, 50-year-old Harry Gant, going for an unprecedented 4th consecutive win here in the fall Busch Grand National Classic. He has not finished out of the top 5 here since 1987. Exciting Busch Grand National racing coming up next from the track Too Tough to Tame. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Just over 40 years ago, Harold Brasington found a cotton field just 2 miles west of the sleepy little South Carolina town of Darlington. Now, he transformed that cotton field into a high-bank superspeedway. Little did he realize it would go on to be the granddaddy of all stock car arenas. And we are here at Darlington International Raceway for today's Busch Grand National Series Gatorade 200. It is a beautiful day for racing. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And, Ned, this has to be one of the toughest parts of the Busch Series schedule all year long. They come from the ultra-competitive high banks of Bristol International Raceway to a track so unforgiving like the track Too Tough to Tame here. And given the drivers who have won here over the years, it looks like experience has to be the key to getting a good finish.
Well, Harry Gant is going for his 4th Gatorade 200 in a row here at Darlington, and certainly he is one of the most experienced drivers in the field, but he'll have to draw on all of that experience this afternoon. He's starting back in 18th position, but behind him are a number of NASCAR Winston Cup drivers who you usually see up front, and I think we will, because of their experience, see them moving up into the top 10 as the race goes on. But starting that far back could get them in trouble because there's not much room to maneuver around a wreck if something happens in front of you. Another disadvantage that they have by qualifying that poorly, they'll have to pit on the backstretch.
And, Ed, one experienced driver will be starting up front in this 41-car field. That's Greg Sachs, subbing for the injured Darrell Waltrip. But the rumor is that Sachs may himself need relief today. How about it, Benny Parsons?
Jerry, I just talked to Greg Sachs. He's not planning on getting out of the race car. He said Darrell Waltrip, the owner, went back to Nashville. I got to hang in there for 200 miles. What happened, folks? Practicing the Tide Chevrolet Thursday morning for the Heinz Southern 500, he crashed and broke 3 bones in his foot. It was so painful pressing the accelerator, they had to put this, a piece of aluminum on the sole of his foot so he could press the accelerator. It must have worked pretty well because Greg Sachs is on the pole. Piece of aluminum and all.
Greg Sachs in the Superflow Chevrolet starting up front. His pole sitting speed 155.056 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the starting line of the Sears Diehard starting grid as we take our first break. There are 41 cars in the field. A lot of veterans back in the pack will be checked. We come back for the green flag after this. Current point standings in the Busch Grand National Series show Chuck Bound, the point leader over Jimmy Hensley, Bobby Labonte, the youngster impressive, Tommy Houston, and Steve Grissom. Where are these top 5 starting in the field? Only one in the top 10. Hensley starting 7th, 3 of the top 5 starting outside the top 20. They'll have their work cut out for them to maintain their point standing today. Getting set for the green flag, field 2x2, 41 strong on the 1.366 mile granddaddy of all super speedways. Headed out of turn 4. Pete Babb getting ready to wave that green flag and get the Gatorade 200 underway. Green flag flies, and they head to turn 1.
And, Jerry, look at Dale Earnhardt. He has dropped all the way back to the back of the pack. He was scheduled to start in 22nd position. We see him now in the black car coming into the screen. He has a problem with the clutch pedal on his Goodrich Chevrolet, so he chose to start at the back as to not foul up anybody.
It's heating up front in a hurry. Sachs in the car number 17 pulls in front of Rick Mast, our winner a week ago. And there's Mark Martin on the bottom of the racetrack, getting passed by the car number 25 of Jimmy Hensley. of over 165, approaching 170 miles an hour down this 1,300-foot pack straightaway. Coming out of turn 2, Greg Sachs subbing for Darrell Waltrip. In the Busch Grand National Series here, driving a Super Flow Chevy. In comes the Buick of Rick Mast in second spot. Then a rookie driver, and had an impressive run for the driver of the car, number 34, Jack Sprague.
And this is his first time running at Darlington. I'll tell you, that's quite an impressive run.
And a couple of drivers making their way up through the pack. The fellow who has won 3 in a row. There he is, the car number 7, the Skoll Buick for Harry Gant. And the man who finished right behind him, the youngster, the Penrose Firecracker Sausages Oldsmobile for Bobby Labonte. That's the car number 44. A lot of veteran drivers starting way back in the pack, Ned.
Labonte finished second to Harry Gant here and was really charging at the end of the race back in the spring in a similar 200-mile race. So there he is chasing him once again. And he probably will follow Harry for a while because he knows Harry knows how to get around this racetrack. And so following him around is a good feature.
And Morgan Shepherd, you got to look at Shepherd in the car number 9, the Texas Pete off this Chevrolet, a brand new car. They spent 5 days, day and night, building that car. Mark Martin in the car number 1, trying to make his move. Martin on the right of your screen in the Ford Thunderbird. In front of him, the Chevrolet Lumina, car number 28. That is Davey Allison. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. And L.D. Ottinger in the car number 2, the Detroit Gaskets car. Now Davey Allison looks inside of Ottinger down toward turn 1 and will take the spot away.
Davey Allison was very fast in practice here yesterday, and I expected him to go to the front. Now Mark Martin trying to make a move on the inside of Ottinger.
Mark Martin trying to put the Ford underneath the car number 2 of Ottinger, Carolina Ford dealers, Ford Thunderbird, the Bill Davis owned car. Down the back straightaway, Ottinger pulls him by a couple of car lengths. Also coming into the battle now is Jimmy Hensley. There's Ottinger's Detroit Gasket car. Winner earlier this year, Bristol, Tennessee. And now Martin tries to get him out of turn 4, taking a run at him on the inside.
He got a good run off. I think that's where we'll show see that Ford. Oh, Hensley got a little loose going into the turn, but he got it straightened out. And there's Ken Schrader trying to go up on the outside of Jimmy Hensley, taking advantage of that little slip that Hensley made going into the turn. He had to really get on the brakes to keep from running over L.D. Ottinger, and it cost him a position. It's hard to say that Ford of Mark Martin really gets through the turns well, and that'll become a very important plus factor as the race goes on.
That's Ottinger in the picture, the car number 2, Kenny Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It is not a Lumina. He is sticking with the Monte Carlo for the remainder of the year. Schrader's car really loose up in turn 1. He's wagging the tail a little bit there, and he gathers it back in front of the Jimmy Hensley car. Schrader's best finish of the year came here in the spring when he finished 3rd. And some cars back in the pack, the 32 of Dale Jarrett. This comes the car number 48 of Sterling Marlin and Ernie Irvin, last week's Winston Cup winner, taking the Yukon Red Oldsmobile, the Charlie Henderson car beneath Sterling Marlin and taking away a position.
There's a number of Winston Cup drivers running together. Right in front of them is Michael Waltrip making his way up through the pack. Michael driving the car that Dick Trickle normally would have driven, the car number 92.
Dale Jarrett in the Crunch Pontiac trying to pull down to the inside, but he's Elton Sawyer, but he will think better of it and stay single file. A tough racetrack here, and now Jarrett just tries to sneak beneath him in turn 3. That's Irvin behind him in the black and orange numeral car number 75. Jarrett goes around Sawyer. Now Irvin will make a move out of turn 4.
That was a good move by Ernie Irvin. He got speed coming off of the turn and moved right around. Here's Rick Mast trying to put a move on Greg Sachs, but can't quite do it as it came off of turn 2. Heading into turn 3 now. Chevrolet of Greg Sachs, the Buick, the Raven Boats Buick of Rick Mast, who won at Bristol, Tennessee, and there's trouble.
That is the car number 27 of Elton Sawyer, the Gwaltney Meats Buick, and he has spun out of turn 2. Caution flag on the speedway. You see a couple of tires having been cut down, and Sawyer will make his way around the pit road. There's Elton Sawyer, Virginia driver in the Gwaltney Meat Snacks Buick.
Gary, car number 48 of Sterling Marlin apparently was involved as well. He was coming up through the pack along with Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvin, and Dale Jarrett, but he apparently hit the car number 20. There you see the smoke coming from the Motorsports Designs car number 48. Let's see if we can see what's happened. There's Marlin down on the inside, and it looks like the right front of his car just clips Elton Sawyer a little bit and sends Sawyer around, and it did damage to both cars. Sawyer spins to the inside of the racetrack. Doesn't look like he hit the inside wall, so the damage should be minor.
We're under caution for the first time today here in Darlington, South Carolina for the Gatorade 200. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Back showing the way. In tow, Rick Masson, car number 22. There's the car number 34, Jack Sprague, the rookie driver. An impressive run early on for him, but he's getting some pressure now from the veteran Mark Martin.
Martin's car just going through the turn so well, and boy, he's an aggressive race driver too, so he'll put the pressure on. Trying to make a move now, going into turn 1, but I don't believe he'll make it this time, Jerry.
A lot of muscle in Sprague's car. That's a Ron Hunter V6. Martin in the Don Kowalski Ford V6, car number 1. That's a battle for third spot. Meanwhile, Kenny Schrader sitting back there in 5th, watching that battle in front of him. There's Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet. Won last September up at Dover in that car. And Dale Jarrett now. Great battle back in the pack. Jarrett, the car number 32. That is Harry Gannon, Ernie Irvin.
Ernie Irvin coming up in the Charlie Henderson-owned car. You know, Charlie Henderson was a fellow from over in Abingdon, Virginia, that allowed us to use his vintage cars of the 50 for our opening at Bristol last week. Now seeing his car come up through the pack. Ernie Irvin started 31st, and that moved him into the 21st position. He's been making his passes coming out of turn 4. Let's watch him this time as they go into turn 3. Here's Mark Martin now trying to take over third, and does it.
Mark Martin made a move out of turn 4. And then looking again here, Dale Jarrett moving beneath the 31 car of Grissom. And here's Ernie Irvin trying to make a move by Harry Gannon. It'll make it 3 wide. That's Mike Waltrip.
Somebody will have to give. Mike Waltrip decided it better be him going into turn 1 because there's not room for 3 cars side by side. Michael knew that. Ernie Irvin trying to move on the inside again. Gannon's car not running quite as good as we normally see that car run on this racetrack, Jerry.
His car not handling well early on. They'll have to get that car in and get a pit stop and make some changes. But now a battle for second spot. Martin,
there's the car that's handling well.
Almost effortlessly goes by the Rick Mass car. And Ernie Irvin is still on the move. He has gone around the Steve Grissom machine. Irvin, that big black and orange Urbel you can rent Oldsmobile. Making a move now on the outside of Dale Jarrett in turn 1.
Irvin doing some very gutsy driving here.
Harry Gant now tiptoeing down on the inside. He has made his way by Grissom. Gant getting a little bit of pressure now. A lot of pressure from Michael Waltrip in the split-fire Pontiac, car number 92. Meanwhile, back up front, a battle for the lead. Greg Sack trying to hold off the challenge of Mark Martin, but Martin jumps in the throttle and takes the lead in turn 1.
And Rick Mass now trying to take advantage of that, but Sachs shut the door on him. So Martin puts the Ford in front. He has 1 victory so far this year in the Ford. He won at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, when Tommy Ellis ran out of gas on the last lap.
Mark Martin driving the Carolina Ford dealer's car, prepared by Bill Davis and the crew. Showing the way here early on. And the car number 5, a tough break for Ward Burton. The older of the Burton brothers. Ward, of course, is Jeff Burton's older brother, 28 years of age, from Virginia. And a lot of smoke came out of that car, and he brings it down pit road.
Had a good qualifying run here, Jerry. Started in the 11th position and was running 10th when he had the problems.
Challenge back in the pack again. That's Schrader trying to make a move inside of Sprague.
And here is Michael Waltrip in car number 92 moving around L.D. Ottinger. And watch the car number 7 of Harry Gant also. He's beginning to ramble a little bit. He was dropped back for a while, but trying to pick back up some of those positions.
A lot of veteran drivers back in the pack having to tiptoe early on. That's Gant in the car number 7. Morgan Shepherd behind him in the car number 9. Tommy Houston, the veteran driver from Busch Series Racing, in the car number 6. And you see, that is Michael Waltrip moving by. There is Gant and Shepherd, 2 veteran Winston Cup campaigners. Grew up on the short tracks racing each other around the Hickory and Asheville, North Carolina area. That's Ed Barrier in front of him in the car number 33, the Pharaoh's Truck Stop entry. And L.D. Ottinger, the Detroit Gasket car.
Well, Jerry, you can't say that you can't pass on this racetrack because Ernie Irvin has moved from 31st to 13th position in 21 laps.
Well, Ernie makes it exciting, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He really is moving up through the pack.
They've nicknamed him Swervin' Irvin down in the garage area, but he certainly puts on a show. And now a battle again. Here's Barrier making a move underneath Ottinger. Harry Gant can't quite get by. There's Morgan Shepherd and Texas Pete Selsa's car. The Roses Stores Buick for Tommy Houston back in. That's the car number 6. The blue, white, and red numeral Buick. Shepherd sliding up high in turns 1 and 2. Houston trying to get beneath him. Harry Gant will make a move down the back straightaway using some of that Jim Ruggles V6 power to slide beneath the car number 2 of L.D. Ottinger.
Ottinger had a very good qualifying run starting in the 4th position, but he has dropped back considerably.
And there's Ernie Irvin on his way to the front. Ernie just turns it hard left. Charlie Henderson on. You can run Oldsmobile.
Taking over 12th position.
Moving by Jeff Burton. That's the Armor Meats car, the Sam Ard prepared car. There's the car number 12. Burton had a great run here in the spring. Stayed in the top 5 or 6 all afternoon. Had trouble late in the race. An untimely pit stop cost him a lap, but had a tremendous effort. The youngster from Virginia in the Sam Ard prepared machine. But Ernie Irvin looks like a man on a mission, and he is making his way to the front, having started back in 31st spot, trying to crack the top 10, trying to reel in some of the cars in front of him. Now there's Irvin in the backstretch. We're going to pull out and show you where the lead cars are, as they are just exiting turn 4. Mark Martin's Ford just coming out of turn 4 and headed down the front stretch. We're in the early laps here at Darlington Raceway. In the Gatorade 200, the top 15 cars. Mark Martin showing the way. In pursuit, Greg Sachs, Rick Mast, Jack Sprague, and Ken Schrader. Top 15 here. It's going to be a barn burner. Don't go away. Lots of Busch Grand National racing action coming up. Stay with us. We'll be back. At Darlington International Raceway for the Gatorade 200 Busch Grand National Series event. I'm Jerry Punch along with Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons, and there's the man who's showing the way. Carolina Ford Dealers Ford Thunderbird for Mark Martin. Behind him, there's Greg Sachs, a Superflow Chevy. Subbing for Darrell Waltrip, and Rick Mast, the winner a week ago in Bristol, Tennessee on the high banks. Martin now pulling away, Ned, to about 10 or 12 car lengths.
He has built a good lead since he got in front. He's just gradually pulling away. And he's doing most of that in the turns as well.
And there's a driver who's been on the move since the green flag dropped. Coming out of turn 4, right at you, the Oldsmobile for Ernie Irvin, Salinas, California driver. Ernie Irvin started way back in the pack. Did not have a particularly good qualifying effort, and the car really is slipping and sliding on him there. He started back in 31st spot, currently being shown in 10th.
That is an impressive run on this racetrack, Jerry, because it is not easy to pass out there, but when he catches them, he passes them, just motors on around. So Charlie Henderson has got to be real pleased with the way that car is running here today. The You Can Rent Oldsmobile.
Ernie did not drive this car at the first race of the year at Darlington. The car was driven by Brad Teague. Irvin now closing in on the car number 56 of Dave Mader III, the 4-time All-American Challenge Series champion. When Mader was impressive last week at Bristol, Tennessee, had trouble late in the race running out of gas. Now battle up front. Sprague slowing. Car number 34, Jack Sprague.
I believe he moved over, Jerry, and let Ken Schrader go by. And apparently there's the leader beginning to lap some cars.
Going by Billy Standrick there. Car number 47, one of the regulars in Busch Series competition. 33 laps complete, 147 comprise the Gatorade 200. Mark Martin trying to pick up a speedway win. There's Sachs in the Chevrolet, Rick Mast in the Buick, the Raven Boats Buick for Rick Mast. Now making a move underneath Mader, and he has made that move, taking away the 9th spot. They are chasing Tommy Ellis, the 1988 Series champion, the Goo Goo Clusters Buick, and in front of Ellis is Davey Allison in the car number 28, the Hummingbird Chevrolet. Irvin is really slipping and sliding. Now Ellis has seen Irvin coming, but he's going to try to make a move and get by Davey Allison.
Yeah, Davey's car is beginning to slip and slide a little bit into turns. It was fast at the beginning of the race, but it looks like it's getting very loose on him right now. So now Tommy Ellis makes the pass. Here comes Ernie Irvin. Boy, it didn't take him long to move around. Look, he's going to come on around Tommy Ellis coming off at turn 4. Or he's going to try to, but Ellis said, no, not this time, big boy. You got to work a little bit harder than that.
Remember the Winston Cup race back in the spring? It was turn 4 that Ernie Irvin dove beneath the Kenny Schrader car and they had that major crash, that massive melee. But apparently he backed off a little bit that time and learned a lesson. Now going to the outside of Tommy Ellis down the backstretch.
Well, Tommy just gave him plenty of racing room on the outside. Irvin just motored right on around. Of course, Tommy is up in the Busch Grand National point standing. Still early in this race, and he knows that Irvin is faster than he is, so he didn't battle him much. He just gave him running room.
Now in 7th spot, Ernie Irvin all the way from 31st. Car number 98 there, one of the lap cars is Hal Goodson from Darlington, South Carolina. And the next target for Ernie Irvin on his ascent toward the front, the fast fair car, the Oldsmobile for Jimmy Hensley. Hensley currently second in the Busch Grand National Series point standings. Had a great qualifying effort, started in 7th spot. There's a look at the likable Horse Pasture, Virginia driver, Jimmy Hensley, two-time most popular driver in this series. Hensley currently being shown in the 6th position. He can pick up a lot of points today because, of course, the point leader has started back in the pack. Hensley would like to stay in the top 10 and try to get a top 5 finish.
He's a good heady driver.
Back up front, there's Hensley in 6th. Moving back up, and we'll pick up our lead car. That's Mark Martin, the Carolina Ford dealer's car. Martin is really starting to put some ground between himself and the second-place car of Greg Sachs. There is Sachs and Mass, 2nd and 3rd. Mass closed in on the rear deck of Greg Sachs.
He's been working on him, Jerry, but he just hasn't been able to make the pass. He's had a nose up beside him a couple of times. Now he's 2 or 3 car lengths back, but look how he runs in on him going into turn 3, and as he comes off of turn 4, he's picked up a little bit more.
Battle in the top 10 now. It's a battle for 9th spot. Dave Maynard in car number 56, and Dale Jarrett now trying to make a move beneath him to take away 9th.
Jarrett started in 28th position in the Nestor's Crunch Pontiac, so he, like Ernie Irvin, has really come up through the pack.
We talked about how important experience would be. There's a lot of experience there. Of course, Jarrett now running in the Winston Cup ranks. Dave Maynard, the rookie driver. Behind him, the car number 42. That is Bobby Hillen.
And that's the car that Kyle Petty normally drives, the Split Fire Spark Plug Pontiac. But they asked Bobby Hillen to drive it here. Ed Conger, owner of that car. Kyle got banged up a little bit in the Winston Cup race at Bristol, Tennessee, and just needed to rest.
And that's Michael Waltrip just behind him in the car number 92. Michael Waltrip stumping for Dick Trickle in the Motorsports Designs Pontiac. He goes around. Bobby Hillen takes the spot away. Mark Martin is showing the way here on lap 40 of 147, which comprised the Gatorade 200. A great crowd on hand for exciting Busch Series action. Stay with us. We'll be back. Back in Darlington, South Carolina for the Gatorade 200 Busch Grand National Series event. And the Carolina Ford dealers Thunderbird for Mark Martin showing the way, still up front and pulling away a little bit, Ned, from the field, a strong field of cars, but they are dicing it up back in the pack.
Yes, they are. Harry Gant still in heavy traffic. There's Dave Resendez, car number 79, as they get around the car number 44 of Bobby Labonte.
Harry Gant, having won 3 in a row here, would like to make it an unprecedented 4th consecutive victory here at Darlington. Skull Buick, and there's Bobby Labonte, the car number 44, now moving around Dave Resendez in the 79.
Now Resendez has just passed him, and watch Gant go by on the inside. Kenny Wallace and was that car number 12 of...
That's Jeff Burton in the Armor Meats car, right.
Yeah, Gant just took advantage. Some of the cars getting very slow in turns 3 and 4. It's a little slippery up there, and they're sliding up, and Gant took advantage of that, moved down to the inside, got himself out of all that traffic. Here comes Kenny Schrader moving around the car number 22 of Rick Mass. That'll be for 3rd place.
Schrader, the car, well, bobbing and weaving a little bit, but he hasn't hit back in as he takes 3rd spot away from Mass. Car number 79, we saw Resendez getting past. Apparently he has a problem in the engine compartment. That's why he suddenly slowed and was repassed by Bobby Labonte a minute ago.
He was running in 17th position. Here's Joe Nemechek making it 3 wide going into turn 3, but Rick Mass backs up. Well, Rick Mass drives them in there, and so they get down to single file.
That was Gary Ballou in the car number 4, who was the meat in that sandwich between Mass and Nemechek. And here's Ernie Irvan now, who is reeled in Jimmy Hensley. Ernie Irvan in the car number 75, starting way back in 31st spot. It just sort of says, see you, Jimmy. Passes Hensley, headed to turn 1.
Moves into 6th position, so he has picked up 25 positions in 48 laps.
Not aggressive at all.
I'll tell you, his confidence has got to be very high, because that Oldsmobile seems to go just about anywhere he wants to put it.
He's not known for qualifying real well, but apparently he runs the car just to the ragged edge in the race. We'll check his lap time to see just what kind of laps he's turning here. Remember, there are just about 50 laps here in the book. We'll clock that You Can Rent Oldsmobile, Charlie Henderson's car, with Ernie Irvan aboard for a lap. Car now slipping and sliding. You got to wonder, as much as he's abused those tires there, they got to be going away.
Well, he has abused them, no question about it. But as we saw him slide up in turns 1 and 2, that's the normal case here at Darlington. For the last several years, after the race gets started and you get 20 or 30 laps into it, they do slide up into the turns. So that might not be necessarily a characteristic of the car going away, just the way that they drive the track.
Ernie Irvan coming out of turn 4. His lap time 34.2 seconds. 34.2. That's 143.7 miles an hour. Not a bad at all lap.
Well, not too bad, but they've slowed down considerably, Jerry, from what they qualified at. I clocked Mark on my stopwatch. We'll clock him officially here on the ESPN time clock, but I had him at about a 33.93 a little bit ago, which is a little faster than Ernie Irvan was running.
Mark Martin, the Ford Thunderbird. Get a lap on him. He is running away up front right now, being chased by Sachs and Kenny Schrader. A lot of veteran drivers. We talked about at the top of the show how much experience, how important experience is here at a tough track like Darlington. Remember, Ernie Irvan has climbed into the top 10. His lap was 34.2 seconds. Mark Martin now coming out of turn 4.
Dale Earnhardt slows down the front straightaway. He had moved up to 19th position from the rear.
34.1, so a tenth of a second quicker for the leader than what we got Ernie Irvan the last lap by. And there's Earnhardt on the bottom of the track as Martin goes around him in turn 2. Tough break for the Goodrich Chevrolet driver, and twice a winner this year in Busch Series competition. Here is Saxon Schrader. They mix it up back there. At his second, third, and fourth, Sachs in the car number 17, Greg Sachs, Ken Schrader in the 52, and Rick Mass in the Buick, car number 22, the Raven Boats Buick.
Well, we understand that Dale Earnhardt has parked the Goodrich Chevrolet. He had a clutch problem, or clutch pedal problem, at the very beginning of the race, and dropped from his 22nd qualifying position back to the rear of the field, but had worked his way back up to 19th before something went wrong, and he has parked her, so he'll get out and watch the rest of the race.
Greg Sachs hanging on in the top 5. He is second right now. He started on the pole. A great qualifying lap at 155.056 miles per hour. But you got to be wondering, remember, he had the accident on Thursday and broke 3 bones in his foot, the metatarsals they call them, the long weight-bearing bones in the foot. Now he's run over 50 laps. Let's see how he's doing. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I talked to Eddie Jones, the crew chief on the Superflow Chevrolet. He said Greg is feeling fine. He's fighting in loose condition right now. The car a little bit loose. The back end wanted to get out from under it. As soon as they make a pit stop, they'll adjust it and hopefully go on from there.
Well, Greg Sachs hanging on. He'll have a lot of racing to do on a weekend here at Darlington Busch Series racing, Winston Cup racing, but he's doing fine right now, and it's evidence by the fact that he's keeping the Superflow Chevrolet in the second spot. There's the current Busch Grand National Series point leader, the Nescafe Classic Pontiac for Chuck Bound. He has gone a lap down. He is now being shown in 26th spot, 1 lap down. So certainly Jimmy Hensley, who is second in points, could gain a lot of ground on him today. There's Chuck Bound, 36 years of age, from Portland, Oregon. currently being shown a lap down, and 6 wins to his credit in the 1990 season. He's got a pretty healthy lead in the point standings.
Yes, he does. He has a good point lead. He started in 27th position, Jerry, so he's moved up 1 position. That could be Dale Earnhardt, but there's since Earnhardt has dropped out, well, that would move him up a position, of course. And L.D. Ottinger, though, started in 4th place, and he's back in 25th place now. Boy, he would like to have seen a caution flag a long time ago to come in and get some adjustments made on his Detroit gasket.
Lead car, Mark Martin showing the way, pulling away from Greg Sachs. We have run almost 60 laps here. Now, these are V6 engines, 274 cubic inch engines with small carburetors. There is the car number 17 and 52. There is Saxon Schrader, Mast and Company, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So we said they're small carburetors, 390 cubic foot carburetors, and of course, with 274 cubic inch V6s, how far will they be able to go on a tank of fuel?
Well, you know, we saw Bobby Hamilton here maybe lose this race a year ago. He went 100 laps, but that was really stretching it too far. But I think they can go 80 to 90 laps and be reasonably safe. How about it, Benny?
Ned, Jared, I just talked to Bill Davis, the owner and crew chief on the Mark Martin #1 Carolina Ford dealers car. He said they're going to stop at lap 70 to 75. That's their window. It's not very many laps, but they feel like they need to get in and get tires on the race car, because as you've noticed, the cars are slipping and sliding. They don't want anything to happen to that car, not as well as it's running.
Well, that's a good point. That could be another reason, of course, for a stop, but they need to go at least to the halfway point in case the thing should go green the rest of the way.
Well, halfway would be 74 laps of 147, which comprise the Gatorade 200, and there's Ernie Irvan, who just took the 5th place away here, and so Irvan is on his way to the hunt. Mark Martin showing the way here in the Gatorade 200. Lots of racing laps to come your way. Stay with us. Back at Darlington Raceway, Mark Martin showing the way, just passing some of the cars. That's Sterling Marlin behind him, and Hal Goodson, he's going around the car number 98. Approaching the halfway mark, and one car running awfully well, but now beginning to slow. Greg Sachs, a Superflow Chevrolet, slowing down to turn 4.
Yes, he almost got into the wall. Let's take a look, Jerry. As he came off of turn 4, he's going into turn 3 there now. We'll follow him on around, but the lap before, he got awfully high. Let's see if he clips the wall. I believe he did. Yes, he did, indeed. Clipped the wall coming off before. He did a good job of holding it. There's Kenny Schrader coming by, taking the position, and Rick Mast moving around. Joe Nemechek. So Greg Sachs is definitely off the pace.
He has lost a couple of spots. Martin's still the leader. Schrader in 2nd spot, and Sachs apparently having been a fender, and he will make his way on the pit road. Sachs making an unscheduled stop a little bit early here. Let's go to the pits and Benny Parsons.
Well, it's got the hammers, but evidently both quarter pounds, both the rear quarter and the front fender, are knocked in against the tires because they have a hammer prepared to knock out the metal. Sachs gets a drink of water, the right side's going up. And there's Sandy Jones beating on the right front, beating on the right rear, making sure there's some distance between the tire and the fender. Still, there Mark Martin goes by and puts Greg Sachs a lap down. Still working on the car. They're beating up the rear spoiler to give him a little bit more traction. Pit stop completed. 25 seconds to 2 right sides. A slow pit stop, but they had to knock the cheese off the tires.
And he will go a lap down the leader, Mark Martin, who is scheduled to pit in the next 4 or 5 laps. You heard Benny Parsons say a little bit ago that he had talked to Bill Davis, who is the car owner and crew chief on that Carolina Ford dealer's car. And the halfway point would be lap 74, which is just 5 laps away. Martin probably could go a little further on fuel, but they don't want to risk it here as well as this car's running.
Back in the pack, we're watching Mark Martin there. Dale Jarrett just moved around Ernie Irvan and has taken over the 5th position. Martin just running flawlessly around here. No problem with that Ford, although he has slowed as everybody else has as the tires have heated up. But here's Harry Gant into the pits now for his pit stop. Every one of them wanting to get some tires on those cars, Jerry, because those tires are heated up. Here's Gant getting right side tires. Someone about to make a chassis adjustment on his Oldsmobile. And Kenny Schrader coming in. We'll see there's Schrader coming right by Harry Gant in the Kodiak Chevrolet, and they too will go to the right side.
Timmy Cohen and the crew will change right side tires. Gant's Buick is now down and away as Chris Carrier and Emma changed right side tires and made an adjustment on the Skoll Buick. Getting fuel in the Kodiak car. Remember, Schrader's best finish of the year came here in the spring. They pulled the jack out 16.6 seconds. Pretty good stop for Kenny Cohut and the crew. This is the car that Schrader owns himself.
But he did go a lap down, Jerry. And it's pretty hard to do here, make a pit stop and change 2 tires and not go a lap down. However, he was 5 or 6 seconds behind Mark Martin anyway, and so that was just enough of a cushion that Martin needed to put him a lap down. But Martin will have a pit stop coming up here shortly. He's coming around now for the 72nd lap. Just 2 more laps and he'll be to the halfway point. And I expect he'll want to go at least to the halfway point before he makes his pit stop.
Mark Martin, 7 Busch Series events here at Darlington Raceway. His best finish was second back in April of 1989. He has yet to win in Busch Series competition here at the track Too Tough today. This is the car that he's used to win on ESPN at Rockingham, North Carolina Motor Speedway back in the spring of '88. Looking for Mark Martin to make an entry on the pit road. Remember, under caution, you're only allowed to change 2 tires in Busch Series competition, but under the green, you can change as many as you want if you just have time and you got a quick crew. Mark Martin now coming through turns 3 and 4. Laps clicking down, 73.
Rick Mass coming into the pits. He was the 2nd place car, the Raven Boats Buick, the winner at Bristol, Tennessee, just a week ago. And here comes Martin in for the service on his car. They're going to the right side. I don't think they're going to put 4 tires on. They're only looking at right side as far as Mass is concerned.
Man Apperson, Nick Pace, and the crew now changing right side tires on the Raven Boats Buick for Rick Mass. Clock running there. They have the tires on, fuel going in the car, cleaning the grill. There comes Jimmy Hensley pitting just in front of Mass as the Fast Fair crew going to work on his Oldsmobile. And our leader coming out of turn 4, Mark Martin, heads for the pit. Bill Davis is there for servicing Martin's car. Let's go to Benny Parsons.
Hey, Jared, you hit it right on the head. Exactly halfway, they bring the car in for fuel and tires. Changing the right side. Jack, you said they're talking about changing 4 tires on this automobile to be sure that they can keep the stagger correct. There's no worn tires. And they are changing 4 tires. And Jack comes around, goes under. Robin Pemberton changing the left front, finally gets a bunch. Tire comes off. Bill Davis hands it to him, puts it back on. And away he goes.
Great pit stop for Mark Martin. 26 seconds. Here's the car number 92. That is the Michael Walter driver. He's driving, of course, subbing for Dick Trickle. They are changing tires.
Now this is on the backstretch. Those drivers that qualified way back in the pack, Winston Cup drivers, had to pit on the backstretch. Dale Jarrett has become the leader of this race in the Nestle Crunch Pontiac. He has yet to make a pit stop. And Mark Martin is not too far in front of Jarrett, so Martin did stay in the lead lap. There's Jarrett now putting the lap on Tom Peck. And there's Robert Preston right in front of him. Just out of the screen was Mark Martin. So Mark Martin is still in the lead lap with 4 fresh tires.
Dale Jarrett, the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac. Jarrett has run here a number of times over the years in Busch Series competition. In fact, has run 15 times here. And in every single race the Busch Series cars have been here, he's finished 3rd twice. He makes a move inside the Robert Presley car down the back straightaway. That's Bobby Hamilton, the car number 8. There's Dale Jarrett, driver of the Nestle's Crunch car number 32, 33 years of age, from Hickory, North Carolina.
He's going to have to stop for gas before too long, or a pit stop. He needs tires as bad as he needs gas. In fact, he's going to do it right now, Jerry. He's pitting on the backstretch. He slows down to get the car under control, headed into the pits on the backstretch.
John Irvin, Kenny Knupp, Mark Shook, and the crew will go to work now on the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac as it's getting busy here in the pits. He's in the backstretch, and behind him, it looks like Ernie Irvin is also coming in. So Jarrett and Irvin, 2 veteran drivers, getting service in the back pit.
Now, the Jarrett crew won the Pit Crew Championship, Pit Stop Championship at Indianapolis, Indiana during the running of the Kroger 200. Let's see how quick they can get him out of the pit here. Well, they can make the tire change awfully quick, Jerry. The back one's still doing a little bit of work there. 16.9 took time to put the fuel in. You got to be sure to get it full of fuel because you might not have another caution, and you need to go have enough fuel to go the rest of the way.
They changed the tires and had already moved away, but they were waiting on that fuel can. There's Ernie Irvin now, had a lengthy stop in the backstretch, and the You Can Rent Oldsmobile. But the way Ernie comes in the back, that's just a challenge to him.
Yeah. He'll have new tires on, so he'll take off. Here's Mark Martin now trying to move around Tommy Ellis. And boy, I'll tell you, he's going to have the advantage. He had that advantage already. He was running out front, but then to get 4 tires and everybody else just taking on 2, that's going to give him an even better advantage. Of course, he could afford to put on those 4 tires because he had a pretty good lead. He was not going to go a lap down. The others had to be concerned about going a lap down with only putting on 2 tires. So that was a good, smart move on their part.
A couple of drivers have yet to pit. The car number 42 is Bobby Hillen, driving for Ted Conder in relief of Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty, who had his foot burned last week at Bristol and was banged up in an accident, he has yet to pit in the split-fire Pontiac.
Well, we understand that he'll be coming in the next lap. Tom Peck is in the pits on the front straightaway, getting right side tires. And we'll follow. There's Ernie Irvin going around Bobby Hillen. He has the fresh tires on him, boy. It really makes a difference.
Ernie Irvin moving on the inside of Hillen. Hillen will slow down and let some of that traffic clear so we can get a clean entry on the pit road. Jerry Kennan and the crew will be waiting for the car number 42, the split-fire Pontiac.
Now, he's one of the Winston Cup drivers that's pitting on the front stretch, Jerry, because he had a good qualifying run.
Here's Bobby Hillen.
He qualified in 13th position.
They'll go to work changing right side tires. Jack beneath the car. Ted Conder on machine. Hillen, of course, has had subbing for Kyle Petty. Jerry Kennan, veteran crew chief, and they're making a serious chassis adjustment on the right side of that car. Right rear tire is on, 17 seconds flat. Pretty good stop for a Busch Series crew.
Yeah, when you consider all they did to the car, and again, they had to take extra time to fill it up with gasoline and also make that chassis adjustment, so that was not a bad stop at all. And for the Tommy Houston fans, I don't know if we documented it or not, but his Rosie Storage Buick is behind the wall, and Tommy, of course, up there in the Busch Grand National point standings in 4th position in the point standings, so it's going to be a tough break for Tommy Houston on his bid to win his first ever Busch Grand National Championship.
Here's Sterling Marlin coming down pit road in the car number 48. He was being shown as the leader. Sterling Marlin will come in for his pit stop.
He's pitting on the backstretch, involved in an early skirmish for the only caution that we had when he and Elton Sawyer got together. So Mark Martin will become the leader now once again.
That's the Fred Turner-owned car out of Greensboro, the Olds Cutlass. Ron Hunter engine inside the car that Sterling Marlin is driving. Motorsports Design, Sunoco-sponsored car. Mark Martin now coming out of turn 2. He will head his way as Sterling now gets the car down off the jack and heads back out, 20.4 seconds.
Well, let's see if he can get out and stay in the lead lap, which I doubt if he will be able to, because Martin's going to go around him. He has the speed up. So Sterling Marlin, the lap down.
So a series of leader pit stops has taken place on pit road, and we're back where we started from with Mark Martin showing the way here in the Gatorade 200. Stay with us.
You watch a stock car race on TV. Car comes charging into the pits. They throw a jack under it, start jacking up to change tires. Look how far the front is off the ground. That's because there's a stabilizer bar that runs across the front that pulls this tire off the ground. No such luck in the rear. Look how close to the ground this tire is. How the mechanics compensate for this is by taking the tire off, hooking the chain to the rear axle housing, attaching it to the frame so that when you jack the car up, the rear comes off the ground equal to the front. You think these race cars are complicated, but wasn't that simple?
Indeed it was, Benny Parsons, and it's simply a great day for Mark Martin here as after 93 of 147 laps, he's showing the way. Rick Mast trying to hold on the second spot. Schrader, Michael Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett, and we hit it on the nail early on. Experience paying off.
It has certainly paid off. The Winston Cup drivers, and Rick Mast is the only one in the top 5 that has run all of the Busch Grand National races so far this year. Now, he's running a lot of races. Well, here's 75, Ernie Irvan coming into the pits. This would be an unscheduled pit stop for him. It looks like he's going behind the wall, indeed into the garage area and out of the race. Ernie Irvan was running in 8th position. He had a rather long green flag pit stop, so he was running 8th when he came in, so now he's out of it.
Tough break for the Salinas, California driver. There's a battle back for 4th spot. Kenny Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet running on the high groove right up against the wall. Dale Jarrett, Nestle's Crunch Pontiac, and Schrader really slipping and sliding. Jarrett now trying to pull onto his rear deck here. Down the back straightaway into turn 3.
About 3 laps ago, Michael Waltrip went around Schrader. Here comes Jarrett now, trying to move on the inside. As Schrader's car goes high, and Jarrett takes the position, moving into 4th.
The handle having gone away from Kenny Schrader in the Kodiak Monte Carlo. Chevrolet now slides back to 5th spot as Jarrett takes the 4th position away.
Boy, look how high Schrader goes into the turns. I said a moment ago, you know, that becomes the groove. The groove's not that high. Boy, look at him fight that car. He is really having trouble getting through the turns with that Chevrolet. And, you know, the Monte Carlo, that's one of the winningest, I guess the winningest car that there's ever been in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. And it was always a good handling race car, but he doesn't have the right setup under that car today. It's gone away now.
Car really getting loose every time he touches the throttle. The rear of the car trying to break away. Just moments ago in turn 4, Ned, he touched the throttle, and here's what happened.
Yeah, the back end just comes around, and he did a great job of saving that car to keep it from going all the way around. Thank goodness he had a little room between he and the wall, or he would have, when he overcorrected it, or he could have overcorrected and got into the wall.
There's Kenny Schrader, veteran driver, coming from the open wheel ranks of USAC competition, and certainly an accomplished Winston Cup competitor. You saw what kind of experience he has. He gathered that car back in. There's Dale Jarrett. An impressive run last week in Bristol, Tennessee, in both the Busch race where he finished 2nd and the Winston Cup event where he led for a number of laps there in the Wood Brothers car. There's Michael Waltrip, Motorsports Designs Pontiac, the John McKenzie sponsored car. He's subbing for the injured Dick Trickle, who would normally have driven that car. Trickle was set on the pole in that car at Charlotte early in the year and finished 2nd to Dale Jarrett there in the Busch Grand National Series event.
Jerry, right now there are 14 cars on the lead lap. Of course, Michael Waltrip running in the 3rd place. Of course, leading is Mark Martin. In 2nd, Rick Mast. 3rd is Michael Waltrip. In 4th is Dale Jarrett. 5th is Kenny Schrader. And then comes Bobby Hamilton. And, well, let's see.
Well, here's Rick.
6th. Okay, go ahead.
Here's Rick Mast in the Raven Boats Buick, and Mast, of course, currently in 2nd spot, picking up his first win of the year, the 33-year-old Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia driver. And Mark Martin really pulling away. Now, remember, Martin came in and changed 4 tires under green. Robin Pemberton and some of the folks who work on his Winston Cup crew have changed 4 tires on that car. That's the top 5. Of course, Martin, the leader. So I would expect that a lot of these drivers, like Mast and Dale Jarrett, these guys would love to see a yellow flag and come in and get some fresh left side rubber.
Well, yeah, they would, I think, Jerry, even though some of those drivers like Jarrett and Michael Waltrip are pitting on the back stretch, they would have to pit after all of those that are pitting on the front stretch, but still, with only 14 cars in the lead lap, it would give them an opportunity to come back into the field. So, yeah, I'm sure they would like to see a caution so they could get the fresh tires.
Tremendous crowd on hand here as Mark Martin showing the way at the Darlington Raceway. The track too tough to tame. Lots of laps left. Don't go away. Back at Darlington Raceway, Mark Martin showing the way.
But we understand that Greg Sachs is slowing again. Here he is, indeed, down on the inside of the racetrack in the Darwall Superflow Chevrolet. So Sachs, the pole sitter, having his problems here today. Entering pit road right now.
Greg Sachs, a 37-year-old driver from Mattatuck, New York, rolling slowly down pit road. Let's check in with Benny Parker.
Jerry, I don't really know what the problem is. The car just walked out. They have the pit board in front. It looks like an oil pump belt has come off the car. That's the word I'm getting, that the oil pump belt or fan belt one has blown off the car.
So Benny, he was running in 12th position before he came in. He had a rather lengthy first pit stop, and then, well, not the pit stop was that long. He had just slowed several laps before then and lost quite a bit of time. So Now, of course, there's more than one lap down, so Greg Sacks is probably history as far as any chance to win this race.
That's Eddie Jones, the crew chief there, talking to Sacks. They take the window netting down, and the crew, the Superflow crew, having put that hood back in place, and they will push Sacks behind the wall. Sacks subbing for the injured Darrell Walter, both in Busch Series racing and, of course, in the Winston Cup ride, the Tide Chevrolet. Mark Martin showing the way up front here in the Carolina Ford dealers Ford Thunderbird. Martin did not fare well in the first race here early in the year. He was involved in an early lap crash with one of a number of cars that were eliminated early on. On lap 22, he and Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Ronald Cooper, among others, were involved in a crash with Dave Resendez fluid engine. But what a difference he's having today here. A tremendous run for him.
Well, we understand that the pulley on the crankshaft broke on the car number 17 with Greg Sacks.
The points leader, the Nescafe Classic Pontiac of Chuck Bound, and the car number 2 just to the right of your picture there, that is L.D. Ottinger. They have been mixing it up on the racetrack, and let's see what happened just a lap or so ago.
Okay, it's turn 4. That's car number 63 getting tagged from the rear by L.D. Ottinger and really gets Chuck Bound out of shape. Ottinger came up on the car number 33 of Ed Barrier, and of course had to slow down a little bit, and Ottinger just being in there didn't see him quick enough to slow down, so he tapped him a little bit, but everything's okay now.
That's Jimmy Spencer in the car number 77, the white and orange numeral Dwight Huffman on machine, now going around Ed Barrier in the 33. Back up front here, battle for second spot. Here is Rick Mast, his car skittering a little bit. That's Michael Waltrip behind him.
And about to take over second position. I'll tell you, Waltrip, since he made his pit stop, has been very impressive. He has come back up through the pack. He started back in the 25th position and now has moved into second. But I think that he's running faster right now than Mark Martin is, Jerry.
Michael Waltrip
here in a minute to check that out.
Michael Waltrip, a two-time winner this year. We'll take a look. He started back on lap 10. He was back in 21st. All the way up to second place now, just past lap 105.
He's less than 5 seconds behind the leader. So you can see the progression that he has made up through the field has been very, very good.
Of course, Michael, a two-time winner this year in Busch Series competition, having won at Richmond. He also won up at Dover, Delaware on ESPN. There's Rick Mast, Raven Boats Buick, and he is being reeled in a hurry by Dale Jarrett. There's Jarrett behind him in the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac.
Yeah, Rick, I think the tires have gone away on his car, Jerry. Look how high he's going. Jarrett's able to keep his car down on the low side of the track. And look how much he gained on him just through turns 1 and 2. Now pulling up beside him, going into turn 3, he'll get the position.
Dale Jarrett takes third spot away. 40 laps to go. 107 are complete in the Gatorade 200, and Jarrett will take over the third spot. Well, the driver who started up front today had his troubles and finally had to park it. He's standing by with Benny Parsons.
Greg, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Benny. For some reason the mandrel broke up the front of the engine there and the oil pump belt came off. Got fortunate to see the light come on, shut it down before we lost the engine.
What was the difficulty with the car? Just the chassis a little bit off?
Now, you know, the groove is way up on top of the track right now. I mean, with about a 6-inch cushion, and I just brushed the wall a little bit in 3 or 4 earlier, not toe out a little bit. So we were looking to get a caution in so we can get it straightened back up. We think we'd have been all right.
How about the foot for 500 miles? Gonna be okay?
Feels good right now. If it doesn't get any swelling from the day, I think we'll be in good shape.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Greg Sacks gave it a gallant effort while he was in there, but he has had to park the Superflow Chevrolet. Mark Martin is leading them here at Darlington as the laps are winding down, and this crowd really enjoying Busch Series racing. Don't go away.
The 1982, Benny Parsons breaks the 200-mile-per-hour mark. 1984, Johnny Rutherford is the first driver to reach 215 miles per hour. 1985, Bill Elliott becomes the Winston $1 Million winner. 1987, Alain Prost breaks Jackie Stewart's longtime winning record with his 28th win. If there's a record to be broken, you'll see it on TSN's racing programs. They put you in the driver's seat.
Back at Darlington Raceway for the Gatorade 200, Jerry Punch, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons bringing the lap-by-lap coverage to you here in Busch Series Racing, and Mark Martin showing the way. Awfully strong day for the Carolina Ford dealers, Ford Thunderbird. There's the man we talked about earlier, the defending champion of the Gatorade 200, has won 3 in a row, trying to make it 4 in a row. Harry Gant in the car number 7.
Well, he's moved up in the top 5, Jerry, for the first time today. He's now running in 4th place. He just moved around Sterling Marlin. Of course, Sterling's a lap down, and to the right of the screen there is Kenny Schrader, who continues to slip and slide. He is in 5th place right now.
So Gant is the 4th place car. And a little bit ago, he was trying to get around Kenny Schrader. Let's take a look at what happened.
Well, while we take a look at that, Rick Masters coming into the pits for an unscheduled pit stop. His car has gone completely away. You see Schrader's car go very high in the turn, as he did a little bit earlier when Dale Jarrett went around him, and Gant just drives right by on the inside.
And that was to take over the 4th spot. There's Rick Mast, the Raven Boats Buick crew. Man Apperson and Nick Pace changing left side tires. Bobby Jones, who owns the Winston Cup car that Rick Mast drives, they're overseeing some of the pit operation, and Mast is down pit road. So that car really going away with those left side tires wearing out.
Yes, and that put him a lap down, Jerry, and now there are only 8 cars on the lead lap. As Rick Mast goes out of the pits and gets his speed up, he did go a lap down to Mark Martin. As a matter of fact, he's going to have to hurry, or he'll go 2 laps down, because Martin is going into turn 1, and Rick's trying to get his speed up. In fact, he's not getting his speed up. Something very slow in Rick Mast's car as he goes up the backstretch. He is not getting up to speed at all. Where the car's locked in gear, don't know what it is, but Mark Martin will go by. There he goes by him and puts him 2 laps down.
Mark Martin moving underneath the Dana Patton car down in turns 3 and 4. But a tough break for Rick Mast. They are waiting for Mast back over here on the front stretch pit area, but he is slow, very slow, coming around through turns 3 and 4. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, when Rick Mast went by me down pit road, the engine sounded terrible. Nelson Crozier, my spotter, tells me that the engine quit before he could get all the way around the racetrack. He's back in the pits now, and I guess he's going to try to figure out how to keep the engine running.
What a difference a week makes. Last week, a flawless evening in Bristol, Tennessee, picking up his first Busch Series win of 1990. Had a great run here today, but he is back on pit road with the hood up.
I got my unofficial watch on Mark Martin this lap. We'll see him, and then we'll see where Michael Waltrip is. 34.5 seconds for Mark Martin on that lap, and now Michael Waltrip is only 3.8 seconds behind. A little while ago, he was 5 seconds behind. He is gaining.
Very stout race car Michael Waltrip is driving today for Dick Trickle, the injured driver. Of course, this is the car that settled the pole in Charlotte back in May. Finished second to Dale Jarrett. Car number 92, owned by Mac Martin, built by Larry Penn. It's a Ruggles V6. There's Dale Jarrett.
Jack Sprague in the pits, an unscheduled, well, I say unscheduled. I expect they're coming in for left side tires on some of these cars, as Rick Mast did there a moment ago. Mast is back in the pits with the hood up, as we see Mark Martin put another lap on Ed Barrier in car number 33. And Kenny Schrader is about to head to the pits. He was running in the 5th position. Schrader was slipping and sliding on the racetrack. I expect he wants some left side tires on his car. Nope, Schrader's going behind the wall. So Kenny Schrader is out of the 5th place car. Is out of the race.
And we'll show you the car number 92. That's Michael Waltrip going around the Dana Patton car. He's the 2nd place car. Now he is trying to reel in the leader, Mark Martin. Great run for the Motorsports Designs Pontiac of Michael Waltrip. There's the car number 32, the 3rd place car. Likewise, a great effort by Dale Jarrett, the Nestle's Crunch car. John Irvin, the crew chief on that machine. Looking back for the 4th place car, number 7 of Harry Gant. There he is, just coming into turn 2. The Skoll car, Gant's car bobbing a little bit there, the Ed Whitaker on Buick. Gant being shown in the 4th spot. As we mentioned, Kenny Schrader, who was being shown in the top 5 a minute ago, had made an unscheduled pit stop. Harry Gant now going beneath Billy Stanridge out of turn 4. Back as cars coming out of turn 4. Car number 8, that is Bobby Hamilton.
And he's one of the cars being shown on the lead lap. And now, Jerry, according to my calculations, there would only be 7 cars on the lead lap. since Kenny Schrader has parked his automobile.
Bobby Hamilton, the three-time Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway champion. Last year as a rookie won at Richmond, Virginia. Yet to get his first win in 1990. He came awfully close here in the spring. He's one of the drivers that ran out of fuel with 2 laps to go when he had a shot at winning it here. And the car number 42. That's the split-fire spark plugs car with Bobby Hill on the board, normally driven by Kyle Petty.
He should be in 7th place, the last car on the lead lap.
And there's our leader. Man who's had a flawless afternoon here, Mark Martin, showing the way as the laps are winding down. 22 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway. A big crowd on hand enjoying Busch Series competition. Stay with us. Back at Darlington Raceway, Mark Martin showing the way in his Ford Thunderbird up in turns 3 and 4. And Martin is beginning to slow. He's slowing in out of turn 4.
Yes, something might have gone wrong with the engine. He makes a hard left down on the pit road.
Barely missing the pit wall, and the car now coasting slowly. What a tough break for the Batesville, Arkansas driver. He is headed for the pits. Let's check in with Benny Parsons. How about it, Benny?
He pulls behind the wall, Jerry. He doesn't even come to the pit. He pulls directly behind the wall and is going down behind the wall. Evidently an engine problem. Didn't even come to pit. Oh, what a tough break for Mark Martin.
Boy, it happened coming off of turn 4, Jerry. There he is in the pits, but let's watch. Now, he was up in the groove, running along just fine. Don't see any signs of problems, and then all of a sudden, we'll see him turn it square left, almost missed the entrance to pit road. Look here. See, he's way out there, and then cuts it left and does get down on the inside, almost spins the car out, and barely getting it on the pit road.
Well, it must have tightened up in a hurry as Bill Davis and the crew now have run up to Mark Martin. What a great afternoon he was having. After starting that car back in 5th spot, he moved to the front crisply early on and had everything going his way. But now the man leading the pack, car number 92, that is Michael Waltrip, looking for win number 3 in the 1990 year in Busch Series competition, having won at Richmond, Virginia, where he sat on the pole in Busch competition, also winning at Dover, Delaware. There's a look at Michael Waltrip, younger brother, of course, of Darrell Waltrip.
He's a little less than 2 seconds ahead of Dale Jarrett now, who is in 2nd position. And 92 coming into the pits. Michael Waltrip in the Motorsports Design Pontiac coming into the pit. So Jarrett will take over the lead. I would not have thought that he would need the pit, Jerry. They got less than 20 laps to go. But let's see, they'll probably put left side tires on it. No, they're just putting gas in it. So evidently they didn't get enough gas when he was in there before. He made an awfully good pit stop when they made their green flag pit stop, and maybe that's the reason. He didn't take on enough fuel.
Must not have gotten the car full of fuel and could cost him a chance at winning here. Dale Jarrett now being shown the way. There's Michael Waltrip's car coming back up to speed after a quick 3.5-second stop in the pits. And the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac of Dale Jarrett starting back in the pack. Jarrett started in 28th spot, now being shown as the leader. Now the question is, did they get his car full enough, Ned?
Well, he was in for a pretty good little bit, Jerry. He ran about 77 or 78 laps, so he had certainly less than 100 miles to go when he made his pit stop. I would think that he'd be able to make it.
So let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons, who's standing by with a fellow who's got to be a little bit disappointed.
Mark Martin, what happened?
Well, we lost our engine, Benny. I tell you what, that Carolina Ford dealer's Thunderbird was just right. It was just running easy out there. The motor let go. Wasn't meant for us today.
Did you learn anything that might help you tomorrow?
I wish. Probably not.
You wouldn't tell anyway, would you?
No way.
Mark Martin, he's still smiling.
Well, he's got to be smiling because of the great effort he gave today. Dale Jarrett showing the way as the laps are winding down here at Darlington Raceway. Trying to pick up his 2nd win of the year. It's going to get exciting. Don't go away. We'll be back. Winding down, and 33-year-old Dale Jarrett is trying to hold on. And the big question was, did they get enough fuel in the car? We've already seen Michael Waltrip have to make that last-second dive on the pit road just a few laps ago for a toppling of the tank. And Ned, your guess is that he did.
Yeah, I think that Dale's crew got enough gas in the Crunch Pontiac to let him go the rest of the way. He's not running as fast now as he was a little bit earlier. In fact, he's running a little over 35 seconds. around here. Let's see how far Gant is behind him. Well, 5 seconds. Now, not too long ago, Gant was 7 seconds behind, so Harry Gant is definitely catching Dale Jarrett. Now, whether he has time or not with only 9 laps to go, well, don't know.
Well, Harry Gant is certainly a veteran at this racetrack. He has won the last 3 Gatorade 200s in a row, and he has won 4 of the last 6 Busch Series events. And remember back in the spring here, March 31st, Gant took the lead with 2 laps to go, going by the car of Bobby Labonte. So Dale Jarrett is going to try to hang on. We'll check the interval one more time. Jarrett crosses the start-finish line. Now Gant working slower traffic. That's the Patty Moise car. Interval 5.4 seconds.
Yeah, he was held up a little bit there by Patty Moise as he came off the turn, so he lost a little bit of ground that time around. Let's go to the back stretch, and Benny Parsons has made his way over there to Dale Jarrett's crew chief, John Irvin.
Ned, John, come down here. Can you make it the rest of the way?
Benny, I went over 100 miles on the first tank, and I got it slap full, so I see no reason why we can't go. Good Lord's willing, and the NASCAR front car, and Dale's done a good job. I believe we can make it.
What about Harry Gant? There's not enough time for Harry Gant to catch her.
I don't believe so. Harry's not gaining much on us. I've been clocking how much he's been gaining. He's not gaining that much on us so we can stay out there in front.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benny.
Jerry, would you believe, or you know it, but that fellow right there that we're seeing on the screen was my crew chief when I was driving race cars back in the 60s.
I don't know what he's using, but whatever that youth medicine is, we got to bottle that somehow and sell it, because John Irvin has not aged a day.
Well, Jarrett in some traffic, but Steve Grissom moves over and lets him move by going into turn 1. Here comes Gant. Let's see how far he is behind this time. 5 seconds on the nose, so he's picked up a little bit again.
Harry Gant closing in now on the waning laps here at Darlington Raceway. You're not going to miss a thing here. We're going to take a quick break and get back for the final laps. Can Dale Jarrett hold off Harry Gant? We'll find out when we come back. Don't go away. Dale Jarrett showing the way in the waning laps here at Darlington Raceway, trying to pick up win number 2 in the 1990 season. 5 laps to go, but the interval is getting shorter and shorter. Jarrett having to tiptoe. Got to be concerned. Did he have enough fuel on board? Remember, he only got right side tires. Those left side tires have gone all the way.
Oh, yes, and they got to be worn, Jerry, and hot, no question about it. But we haven't seen Dale slide the car that much. He's been pretty smooth with it. The car was handling good for him right from the very beginning, and so he hasn't abused the tires that much. So maybe those left side tires will make it.
The last time by, the interval was 5 seconds. We'll check it this time. It's Gant now coming out of turn 4. Has to have the pedal down. 4.6. He's cutting by 0.4 of a second every couple laps, but the laps are winding down. Just 4 laps to go.
Yeah, a couple cars slowed in front of Dale Jarrett over on the backstretch. The Jimmy Spencer car slowed, but Jarrett got around, and there's the Ed Barrier car number 3 moves over and gives him running room. Jarrett had to have an anxious moment there for a little bit because those cars were side by side as they came off of turn 2 right directly ahead of him. And there's trouble down in turn 1. The yellow flag will come out. Well, let's see. No, maybe the yellow flag won't come out. The car is down off of the track, so they're continuing. Yes, the yellow is coming now.
That's a Jack Sprague car, car number 34, and they are waving the yellow flag now here, front straightaway.
The leader has not taken the yellow. He had already gone by before the yellow flag came out, but Dale Jarrett has slowed. Now, I hope his pit crew recognizes the fact that he did not take the yellow. Harry Gant is going to be coming on fast. Jarrett coming off of turn 4. Now, he has room up in front of him there to speed back up, and now he does speed back up.
His spotter apparently telling him that Gant is on the move, and here comes Jarrett out of turn 4 to take the yellow flag, and Harry Gant is behind him about 10 car lengths. So caution flag being shown here for the second time today for the spinning car of Jack Sprague up in turn 1.
And there was just 2 laps to go when Jarrett came by that time. There will be 1 lap to go when he comes back around the next time, so he'll get the white flag. And probably this race will end under caution, Jerry, since there were only 2 laps to go. We'll see. We're certainly not making the call for NASCAR, but we'll just see what the situation is.
Pete Babb standing on the flag stand, holding the white flag and the yellow flag. He has not yet waved the white flag. Dale Jarrett showing the way, starting way back in the pack today in 28th spot. He showed a lot of maturity last week at Bristol, Tennessee, involved in an early lap crash up there, came back to finish in the top 5 up there. A great run for Dale Jarrett. Finished second both times at Bristol. And the Pontiac safety car with the lights ablaze comes down, and Pete Babb will wave the white flag. So indeed, Ned, your estimation was correct. This race will finish under caution. And there's Harry Gant. He will not get that unprecedented 4th consecutive Gatorade 200 win, but he will have a great run today and finish in 2nd spot. And there's John Irvin, the ageless one. John Methuselah Irvin, we call him down in the pit, the crew chief, and he is running over toward victory lane.
Well, he of course, has to say a little prayer that Nestle's Crunch Pontiac will get back to the start-finish line. You know, he's got to get the checkered flag before it's official.
Well, he could ride that draft on that Pontiac pace car. There's the 7 car. And I know Harry Gant's got to be saying, boy, just give me one more lap. I've caught him now. Of course, he had a little help from that pace car, but that would be quite a shootout. That's Ed Barrier's lap car on the inside, the car number 33. But a great job. Dale Jarrett has won 4 times in Busch Series competition. This would be win number 5 and his 2nd win of the 1990 season.
And interestingly, Jerry, that if he does go on and get the checkered flag here, it would be, of the 5 wins, 3 of them were on super speedways, 2 at Charlotte and 2 on short tracks. And most of his experience prior to going into Winston Cup competition had been on short tracks.
And the crew now jumping in the Nestle's Crunch van, heading from the backstretch, and now they have finally found victory lane, as Dale Jarrett will in just a moment as the checkered flag waves here in the 24th Busch Grand National Series event. And Dale Jarrett wins it here in the Gatorade 200. And Jarrett waving to the crowd. Harry Gant finishes 2nd. We'll hear from the winner when we come back after this word from our sponsors. Back at Darlington International Raceway, the Gatorade 200 is history. Let's take a look at the top 20 finishers. Of course, Dale Jarrett winning it. And I'd like to congratulate you, Ned, on a first for you.
Well, it is the first for me, Jared. I have never seen Dale win a race when I was working on a broadcast, and I guess I contained myself pretty well here, the excitement.
Well, you did. You were a little hole in the carpet, but we won't worry about that. Let's take a look at the point standings for the Busch Series competition. Of course, Chuck Bound still showing the way. He lost a little ground today. Hensley, Labonte, Grissom, and Ellis. But a happy driver standing by for our road handler winner circle interview, and Benny Parsons is there. How about it, Benny?
Jerry, the last time we saw this fellow at the Busch Grand National race, he was hot. He had finished 2nd. He's still hot, but you finally won one.
Yeah, we sure did. You know, this is our 2nd of the year, and on 2 good racetracks, Charlotte and here at Darlington, the track is too tough to tame. But, you know, it really feels good. This Nestle's Crunch Pontiac ran good all day. And the guys in the crew, you know, they're the 1990 Busch Grand National Pit Crew champions, and they did a good job getting in and out there on the pit stop and making sure it was full. That was the main thing, was making sure they got all the gasoline in it. And Mark Shook, the boy that does the gassing for me, did a good job there. And again, just thank Nestle's Crunch Ice Cream and Citco Gasoline for their help in making this effort possible.
Looks like that Ford's going to be tough the rest of the year. Mark Martin's Carolina Ford Dealers Ford.
Yeah, I tell you, I guess, you know, we were kind of lucky to win, but we ran good there. And, yeah, you know, they got some new heads on that Ford, and it's giving him some more horsepower, and that's going to make a difference for him. And you know, as good a race driver as he is on places like this, he'll be tough to beat.
Jerry, happy victory lane.
Indeed, like father, like son. His dad did it in 1965 here in the Southern 500, and son Dale Jarrett waving to the crowd. An impressive run here in the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac. A new race record, 136.342 miles per hour. Win number 5 here in Busch Series racing career for that man, Dale Jarrett. For Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punch saying again, congratulations to Dale Jarrett, and so long from Darlington Raceway.